Three. Ladies and gentlemen, we are moments away from beginning. Good news is, bathrooms are now open. My name is General Ted Heller, self-appointed. You don't believe it either? I want to thank you for all coming out on this busy day. I hope I didn't cross many of your plans today. Little did I know there would be a Metallica concert down at the Spectrum. Hope I didn't mess up anyone's plans for that Metallica concert. This is an official event, and I can clarify that because we are selling Fundries around the corner. So we have plenty of Marching Night t-shirts and other items if you're interested on your way out this evening. We'd like to start our program off by all of us, and I will start us, standing and singing the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, I will start and you will come in immediately following. Immediately following. That's why I'm a trumpet player. Here we go. I will start. Make sure, gentlemen, your hats are off. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose sunlight and bright stars through the perilous night, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare of bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Ladies and gentlemen, if you would remain standing, please, remain standing. We have another special day. This happens to be Veterans Day. And Would you please share with me a moment of silence following taps? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a seat. Thank you.
It's cold.
I'll give a quick second for our latecomers to settle in. I want to thank again all of you for coming out tonight. We have a special program. I invited our neighbors again, Methacton High School, and unfortunately they had a conflict, so they were unable to attend, but I have another special performance coming your way this evening. Should be rather fitting. This is really not going to be a big evening of thank you and a lot of talking. It's more of performance. It's also about 8.5 magical minutes, and to those of you that share that moment on Saturday night know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Anyone that is seated from the 20-yard line to this 20-yard line, congratulate, you have better seats than you did last Tuesday night at Lancaster Catholic. And before we get started, I would like to give a couple of thank yous, and I'll get these over with right now. But they're important. The season is coming to an end, and before it does, I want to thank, most importantly, my wife and my 2 boys up in the press box. Give a little wave. And thank my parents as well. Later on, I'll have some time to introduce to you my staff. If you think I'm stalling, you better believe I'm stalling. So now that I have this time, I want to take you through, share with you some of our season. We started off on a great note. We had a fire-free night of sound. Fire-free. The first time in a while. Very successful night of sound, and we had competition in Plymouth Whitemarsh, then to Wissahickon. Those of you that don't know, we are presenting a Civil War show this year. I had the honor of taking the Marching Knights on a field trip to Gettysburg. Not to perform, just to go and learn. And we spent a day out in Gettysburg, and that was a joy. We also traveled to Rutgers for the Bands of America competition. I'm going to explain some of these trophies. On your left-hand side, these glass-colored trophies, the 5 on the left are from the Rutgers show. We did a competition at prelims. We took 3rd at prelims. We had Norwin was 1st, Piscataway was 2nd, North Penn was 3rd. Then that evening at finals, Norwin took 1st, North Penn took 2nd, and some caption awards. Following the Bands of America competition, even before that, we had the lucky experience for the first time in some time to go to a football game that had some meaning. Those of you that traveled to CB West, you know the excitement that it was. And being the director and being involved in this activity for almost 20 years, very rarely does that happen, or has that happened, and I think it's going to start happening more and more with the coaching team here. And I say that because one of the coaches is here tonight, so I want to make sure I got that plug in. But we traveled to Central Bucks West, and one of the most inspiring performances that took place this year. During the halftime show we did, they were received with a standing ovation following the performance. And that doesn't happen all the time, especially football games. Then we finally went to the well-lit field at Westchester. Yeah. We got rained out at Millersville. Millersville athletic director called Cavalcade and said, "You will not put any bands on this field this weekend." So we got a call. It was rained out to go Tuesday night. We got a call Monday. The competition has been changed to Lancaster Catholic High School for the championships of cavalcade bands, where we took second place and Hatboro Horsham took first place. And for your sake, on behalf of the Marching Knights, I sent a basket of flowers to Hatboro Horsham on behalf of the Marching Knights, congratulating them on their victory. Thank you. And last Saturday, those of you that couldn't be there, it was a hell of a show. Approximately 11 o'clock p.m. Saturday evening, Marching Knights took the field at Giant Stadium, and anyone that's been to Giant Stadium, or at least an alumni, you know what it's like when you get out that tunnel and you see the AstroTurf. The excitement is still there. It is real exciting. We went on first, followed by Hatboro Horsham, King Philip, Williamsport, and Piscataway, and the results are right there in that banner. U.S. Scholastic Group 5 Open 1997 champions, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Yes. Okay, we're getting there. I would like to introduce to you if they are here, I'd like to introduce to you the 69th Pennsylvania Irish Volunteer Company under the direction of Captain Jerry Malloy. Ladies and gentlemen, the 69th Pennsylvania Irish Volunteer Company. And Irish Volunteer Company, feel free to take the field anytime. I see you back there. Don't do this to me. Here we go. I want to thank the 69th Pennsylvania Irish Volunteer Company for coming out under the direction of Captain Jerry Malloy. This evening we would, each year in our annual Night with the Knights, we try and highlight a section and take you 5-10 minutes through a quick warm-up, because we're going to need to warm up again. We have the percussion located by the tennis courts. That's a percussion parent. We have the woodwinds brass. This evening we're going to feature some work with the color guard, and I'd like to introduce Brian Staley, North Penn High School graduate of 1992. And Brian is the director of the visual ensemble and the outdoor color guard. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Brian Staley.
Okay, before you are 60 of what I call one of the finest color guards in North Penn's history. I told them last week. And we're going to do some exercises, some technique that we usually do. We spend an awful lot of time doing a lot of exercises for stamina to increase their flexibility, and for them able to do the entire show, we need to do a lot of these various exercises. So, we're a little short-staffed tonight, so I'm going to take the weapons here. 1, 2. Right now they're going through a series of exercises that we usually go through in a warm-up. Now, in the summer months, we go through about 2 to 3 times as much as they're doing right now. Right now, the weapons over there are doing about 50 spins. Sometimes we do about 500. And some of us did about 1,000 last week. That's their favorite part. The one unique thing about the color guard is that instrumentalists usually start to play their instruments in about 4th grade, while these girls usually pick it up around 8th grade. So we've got a little bit of a late start, rather than the instrumentalists have about 4 years on top of them. So we spend an awful lot of time working on these basic skills. Right full stop there. Okay, next the flags are going to be taking a portion of the show. In a usual rehearsal situation, we'll go through sections of the show and then gradually build them up. So they're going to be working their way through the closer, which is flag, and they're going to be working through sections and then eventually doing the whole thing on the field. As you see, it's color guard is not like it used to be. There's a lot of various dance training that we also do here at the Marching Knights, and obviously you see that a lot of it incorporated into the work that they're doing. jump ahead a little bit, and we're going to go take everything on the field. We're going to take the entire closer with the color guard. Usually it takes us the whole night to get to this point. We're gonna do it right away here. What we're doing is we're going to do a complete run of the closer without the band. It gets a little bit tougher when the band's not here because they've got to concentrate more on counting besides listening to the band. So we're giving this a shot. We'll see if this works. Color guard, we're going to take it all the way up to the end of your ensemble flag work. We're not going to run back to get the large flags. We're going to stop all the way, go all the way through that. Listen to Bill. Stop right there. Bill Anders. You.
Thank you, Brian. Maybe you can begin to understand why this 60-member team took high auxiliary Saturday evening at Giant Stadium. Thank you, ladies. Thank you. We're about to start our program for you. One of our biggest supporters happens to be at North Penn High School, and he happens to be the principal, my boss, and a good friend. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Vincent Cotter.
Thanks, General Ted Heller tonight. Thank you. I just stopped by to congratulate the Marching Knights, Ted Heller, the music aides for another fantastic program. What a wonderful season again. Second place at the States, and of course the championship up at Giant Stadium. What a wonderful time, what a wonderful group. But I don't know if you noticed, Ted's developing this problem with rain lately. Last year up at Hershey it poured the last two championship competitions on the weekend. The phone rings every weekend and my wife says, "It's Ted, it's raining out again." So in recognition of this, I brought an umbrella along, an official North Penn umbrella, and may it never rain on your parade, Mr. Ted Heller and the marching Knights.
It's great to have a comedian as a principal, isn't he funny? It didn't start raining until he came. Thank you, Dr. Cotter. Ladies and gentlemen, we are moments away. I'm going to ask the student members to go to opening set. We're going to go to opening set. Rich, are the percussion on their way? Okay. And right now, we're going to go through opening set. I'm going to turn the microphone over to Mr. Ron Higgins up in the press box. He's going to take you through our announcements for this evening's performance. Ron Higgins, go ahead.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the North Penn School District and the North Penn Music Aids take great pride in presenting the North Penn Marching Knights. Members of the band and men front. This year, the Marching Knights will travel to Arizona for a national competition at the Fiesta Bowl. The Marching Knights staff is under the direction of Ted Heller. The 1997 North Penn Marching Knights are continuing a tradition of entertainment and education. This year's presentation is music and events of the music of the American Civil War, 1861 to 65. The theme is the struggle and rebirth of a nation. While this time period of America's history and the associated symbolism often reflects a period of injustice, inequality, and personal pain, the struggle and rebirth of a nation attempts to represent the turmoil, division, destruction, and eventual reunification of a nation in the throes of a civil war. Today, as a unified nation, we respect the diversity of this country and the richness that this diversity brings to our lives. The opener contains three selections. The first is Aaron Copeland's Lincoln Portrait. The second is Way Down Yonder in Dixie. The third is When Johnny Comes Marching Home. Narrating the words of Lincoln is Andrew Holstein. Next, representing the battle scene is the battle Cry of Freedom. Dean Karabulius narrates the Sullivan Blue Letter. Band Major Greg Fox narrates portions of Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. The Marching Knights close with Flag of Stars, a Fantasia on America, and the Star Spangled Banner by Gordon Jacobs.
And my other coat.
And now, I haven't been able to do that this year. And now, would you please welcome, since 1985, when this year's seniors were kindergarten, Dale Gerhardt, Karen Shoup, Lisa Schlockman, Steve Kopp, David Overholzer, Josie Latshaw, Matt Slott, Donald Petrilli, Philip DePaul, Lisa Petrilli, Kyle Woolman, Peter Fisher, Robert Riley, David Sweeney, Connell Rodey, and under the field direction of Band Majors Katie Love and Greg Fox, the North Penn Marching Knights.
Katie, wait.
house divided against itself cannot stand. I believe that this government cannot endure permanently, half slave and half free. I do not expect the Union to be dissolved. I do not expect this house to fall. But I do expect that it will cease to be divided. It will become all one thing or all the other. Abraham Lincoln, 1861.
July 14th, 1861. Dear Sarah, the indications are very strong that we shall move in a few days, perhaps tomorrow. Unless I would not be able to write you again, I feel impelled to write you a few lines that may fall under your eye when I am no more. My dear Sarah, my love for you is deathless. It seems to bind me with mighty cables, and nothing but omnipotence to break. And yet, my love of country comes over me like a strong wind and bears me irresistibly with all those chains to the battlefield. If I do not return, my dear Sarah, never forget how much I loved you, nor that when my last breath escapes me on the battlefield, it will whisper your name. Sarah, do not mourn me dead. If I am gone, then wait for me, for we shall meet again. us here today, to be dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead, we take an increased devotion to that cause for which they gave their last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these men shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth. Ladies and gentlemen, the North Penn Marching Knights.
One more time!
Well, we're going to give part of that one more time. Ladies and gentlemen, Marching Knights, would you please set up the top of flag? Ladies and gentlemen, it's top of flag. And they're excited about it. Ladies and gentlemen, before we give you our encore for this evening, a couple of quick announcements. If you still haven't gotten enough of this Civil War, by the time you get home this evening on the Jersey PBS broadcast, they're showing part 4 and part 5, I believe, of the Ken Burns Civil War series. When the Marching Knights are finished, they're going to be heading that way and they're going to be released in that end zone. If any parents of the Marching Knights are interested in taking a picture of your child by the trophy table, we're going to leave that table up until everyone's out of the stadium. And you can see the show this Friday. The Marching Knights will be performing at halftime of the North Penn Ridge football game at Penn Ridge. And then the Thanksgiving Day game is on. Thanksgiving Day game will be on. We will be recognizing
We'll recognize our senior members that morning at approximately 10 minutes after 10 o'clock. And then we're going to, from what I've heard, the LC does not have a band this year, so hopefully we'll be able to take the halftime honors this year. So if you're interested, come out Thanksgiving morning and we'll be performing halftime performance. Right now it gives me a great privilege. This is the favorite part of the year. I've now included it in their contracts, but I'd like to introduce to you the people that make this thing happen, and this is my staff. So ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you my staff. North Penn graduate, color guard instructor, Josh Allen. Want to introduce your name? Just come forward, please. Josh Allen. North Penn graduating class of 1982, Bill Anders. Bill. Where is Bill? Yeah, there he is. Come on up here, buddy. Come on up here. Come on up here. North Penn graduate, woodwind instructor, Miss Cara Dice. Soon to be Cara Boudreau. She's going to get married in July. She's getting married in July. North Penn graduate movement instructor, Mr. Eric Deal. Eric. North Penn graduate, also a drum major here at North Penn, Mr. Phil DePold. Helping out in the brass line this year is North Penn graduate, Mr. Eric Frank. Unfortunately, this person couldn't be here, but he helped out on our music staff. And not only that, he was also kind of my cushion to relieve some of my tension when I had some. Mr. Steve Frederick was on our staff this year, and I just want to thank him for his help. Percussion instructor, North Penn graduate Brian Green. In charge of ensemble rehearsal, Mr. Rich Hammond. Rich. Our woodwind instructor, department chairperson, jazz band director, Mr. John Jostin. Our percussion caption head and director of the percussion ensemble, Mr. Tom Kelly. And a North Penn grad. Our show designer and the person that's designed a lot of what you saw this evening and what you're about to see again, Mr. Eric Kitcheman. North Penn graduate helping out in the movement program this year, Steve Levy. Steve Levy. And I don't see him here, but coming from Trenton High School, who's the band director there and helped us out in the brass section, Mr. Larry Markevich. On the movement staff, recently got his degree, Dr. Mark Metz. New to us this year, very effective, on percussion staff, Mr. Rob Meisner. Lab band director and band director at Pembroke Middle School, and brass instructor, Mr. Peter New. Helping us out in the pit this year was Mr. Dan O'Neill. Dan couldn't be here with us. Oh, there he is, Dan, yeah. Another movement instructor, Keith Overton. To the color guard, Michelle Owens. Also in the color guard, Tammy Reniger. Helping out in our costume design this year, Miss Nancy Shaponik. Color guard instructor, Amy Shepard. Amy. And caption head of the, and director of the visual ensemble, Brian Stout, who you met earlier. Brian, North Penn graduate. Percussion instructor helping out with the pit, North Penn graduate, is Mr. Eric Williamson. We also have Sean Farilla, student at Westchester, helping out in the brass section this year. And finally, North Penn graduate, Mr. Scott Allison, helping out on the movement team this year. Scott Allison. Did I miss anyone? Ladies and gentlemen, North Penn High School Marching Knights staff, and they are what it's all about for me. Thank you. Thank you, team. If I can ask the drum major to assume her position on the podium. Ladies and gentlemen, Flag of Stars by Gordon Jacob. presented to you by the North Penn High School Marching Knights. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming out this evening. We'll see you again next year. Thank you for joining us. And for many of you, we will see you in Phoenix, Arizona. Marching Knights, you're going to go to side 2 end zone. At the end of a performance, head down there, please. We need to block it up. Ladies and gentlemen, on your way out, tonight is the last night to order Phoenix, Arizona shirts. You can order your shirts over by the fundraise table. And this evening, the Marching Knights will be handing a weekly bulletin. Make sure your student gets a bulletin, and make sure they get the last brochure sale information packet for this evening. Arizona shirts can be ordered and brochure sale.